Hey guys, Victor here, and today we're going to be doing an updated hero deck profile because it has been a while since I've actually showcased a hero deck on this channel. As I'm not going to lie, the deck has been pretty stagnant because there's been like no new support until recently with Wild Survivors, which gave us the new Flame Wingman card. And there honestly isn't really a point to uploading a hero deck profile all that often because of the fact that, let's face it, every hero deck is essentially the same. However, that's going to be different today, as you're not going to see cards like Dark Angel, you're not going to see Triple Faris. What you will be seeing is like a heavy emphasis on like the Neos engine, just because I like getting different ideas out there, and I feel like the Neos cards really complement the new cards that just recently came out. So if you don't enjoy that, you can feel free to like just click off the video. It's no big deal. But if you want to see the deck anyways, just stay tuned because let's get started with the deck profile. Now, when it comes to the monster lineup, we're going to be playing 3 stratos for this specific version of the deck. Now, normally I only play 2, but I feel with the cards being like more Neo-centric, you have to play 3 strato just to have like, the max consistency possible. And because of the spells that we play, playing 3 stratos definitely has a lot more synergy than just playing 2. So yeah, 3 is the way to go. Then we're also going to be playing 2 Elemental Hero Shadow Mist. Nothing out of the ordinary here, just extremely standard. It's a foolish target that you can use, to search any hero monster, or if you special summon it, you search out a mass change quick play card. You also play the 1 of Elemental Hero Liquid Soldier. Solid card, when it's used for a fusion material, you can draw 2, discard 1. Or if you normal summon it, it's a great way to get back your Elemental Hero Shadow Mist if you want to be able to search out mass change reliably. Then we're going to be playing 1 Elemental Hero Spirit of Neos. So this card is really cool, and it's one of those cards that came out in Power of the Elements that I was a really big fan of. And what it does is, so it has multiple effects. The least important one is that it's a battle fader essentially, because when your opponent declares an attack, you can special summon this card from your hand, and then it cannot be destroyed by battle for the rest of this turn. But the more important aspect is the second effect, because when this card is special summoned, it either searches out a Polymerization, or it searches out a hero spell or trap that, specifically names a hero in its card text, which is going to be very important for the combos that we're trying to pull off. And then in addition to that, it can also shuffle itself back from the deck in order to special summon the original Elemental Hero Neos, which we play 1 of. And this card's not a brick anymore. Like, you can actually do so much even if you like hard draw this card. So yeah, that's fantastic to say. I'm a really big fan. And yeah, Neos, just fantastic. But I don't really think you should play more than 1. And then we're also being playing just 1 Neo-spacian Aqua dolphin, just because it's important for one of the spell cards that we play. But for the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really matter which one you play. I just don't think you should be playing any more than just 1 Neo-spacian, because they do tend to brick a lot. So this is obviously the best one because you can discard a card, look at your opponent's hand, get free knowledge, take out any annoying hand traps they may have. And yeah, Aqua Dolphin's, just great. And then we're still playing some Destiny Hero monsters. So we play the 2 Destiny Hero Malicious and the 1 Destiny Hero Denier. That's it. You don't need any more, any less. When it comes to Plasma, while it's still great, it takes too many resources just to set up. And I'm not really a fan of committing all those many cards in this current format, because there's just still so many key cards that just completely break hero boards, like the Lava Golem, Kaijus, Nibiru, whatever. It's not worth committing all those resources just to get blown out by a simple Kaiju, And yeah, so that's why I don't play anything else. And then Dark Angel, I just don't think it's that great either, especially because since Kashtira isn't able to rip cards out of the Xtra deck, that means that a lot of people tend to have like very easy outs to it, whether it's like Link Karibo or Salamangreat Almirage, even though I don't think Almirage can specifically help, but for sure Link Karibo has found its way into like a lot of decks just to be able to out annoying monsters. And yeah, that's it for the D heroes. Then for the Vision heroes, we just play the 1 Faris. I know a lot of people enjoy this card at 3, max consistency. It's one of your best starters. And while that is true, this deck is already super consistent as is. So you don't really have that much issue finding this card in the first place. What I do have an issue with, though, is that you pretty much never resolve it more than once anyways. After you use the first Faris, since we only play 1 Vision Hero increase, Faris is basically just a brick, and if you're playing more than 1, that means you're playing 2 bricks instead of just 1. So yeah, I don't know, I'm just like, I love the card, but I just don't think it's that great in like modern heroes. And then, like I said, 1 increase, and we're still playing 2 Vision Hero Vyon. It's still an incredibly powerful normal summon, being able to foolish any hero, and then off of that, you're going to be able to search a Polymerization in addition to foolish. So, and it being a dark, Dark Claw is still a really good card in a lot of matchups, so being able to mass change this, dodge cards like Imperm or Veiler can sometimes just straight up win you the game. And with that, that's the monster lineup, and now we can finally move on to the spell and trap portion of the deck. Now, the spell and trap lineup is pretty simple because we play a bunch of 3-0s, starting with the Hero Lives, which, you know, it's a hero deck. You have to play 3 of it. Just pay half your life points, special summon 1 level 4 lower elemental hero monster. If your hand is strong or weak, you know, your 2 main targets are always going to be Stratos or Shadow Mist, so you just add whichever one complements your hand a lot better. Then, something that you don't see very often is EN Neo-spacian Engage. I love this card, and this card is actually just super sick with what it can do, and I think like it's honestly just slept on in the hero community in general, because what it does is, so you send 1 Neo-spacian monster and 1 elemental hero monster. One of them has to be from your hand, the other one has to be from your deck. It doesn't matter which one you send it from where, and it sends for cost. So right off the bat, this is a fantastic way to be able to fill up your grave and send something like Elemental Hero Shadow Mist, because even if this card gets ashed, it's fine, because then you get the Shadow Mist effect, the Search, and you can still play off of that. But after you send those 2 for cost, it then special summons a level 5 or higher Elemental Hero monster from your deck. And what you're typically going to be summoning is your Elemental Hero or your Spirit of Neos, just because your Spirit of Neos will in turn help you search out even more cards, and then it'll also get you into your regular Neos. But if you're going second and you need a little bit of extra damage, for some reason, if you special summon regular Elemental Hero Neos, it gains 1,000 attack. So, you know, it becomes a 3,500 beat stick, which helps you beat over other monsters fairly easily. And yeah, just like, it's just such a cool card for what it can do. And that's not even the end of it, because after you special summon, it also just randomly adds Polymerization either from your graveyard or your deck to your hand. And that's mandatory, by the way. So if you, for some reason, don't have a Polymerization in your grave or your deck, you're not going to be able to use this. So just be aware that it does have like that one downside, just because the poly add is mandatory. You don't have a choice with it. So yeah, but I still really like it, and I definitely think 3 of is the way to go. And then because we still play Destiny Heroes, we play 3 Fusion Destiny. It's not that big a deal, you know. Enforcer is still a really powerful card and can some straight up just win a game sometimes on its own. And even though we don't have Plasma, because we are playing cards like Neos and Spirit of Neos, those still fulfill the requirements of being a level 6 or higher, which is what, you know, we need in order to make Enforcer combine with another Destiny Hero monster. So yeah, we do still have other options, and we don't need to rely on having all the Destiny Heroes in the deck or hand. After that, we're going to be playing 3 EN Shuffle. Since we're playing EN Neo-spacian Engage, something like EN Shuffle actually just, you know, its potential is just unreal, because you just shuffle a hero monster from your, you know, your side of the field or a Neo-spacian back into the deck, and then you special summon something that just has a different name. So you can go a Hero Lives, summon Stratos, Stratos Search, EN Shuffle it, and then from here you can either go into your Elemental Hero Shadow Mist, which will special summon itself and search a mass change, or you can go into your Spirit of Neos, which will search out like other cards and just get your engine going. And it also has like another graveyard effect too, where you can shuffle 1 Elemental Hero monster and 1 Neo-spacian monster. Or if you only have something like Elemental Hero Neos in the graveyard, you can also just shuffle that back and then draw a card. So it's great for getting back your resources, which is something that the hero deck honestly lacks in a lot of situations. And yeah, just a really good card. I really enjoy this. And yeah, what else is there to say? It's basically a second Hero Lives in a sense. After that, we're going to be playing 3 Super Polymerization. Now, this is the biggest flex spot, and honestly, Super Polymerization is probably the least, like, optimal card to play in this. But, yeah, it honestly can fit whatever mold or niche that you may want the card to fit. If you want consistency, you play Pot of Prosperity. If you want to break boards a lot more easily, you can play Dark Ruler No More. If you just hate hand traps, you can play Triple Tactics Talent. There's so many methods or so many cards that you can fit into this specific slot that you don't have to play Super Poly. I just decided to play for this specific profile, you know. But don't let that like thinking like lock you in, because this deck is honestly like super malleable, and those 3 cards can just make a world of difference. But yeah, for now, 3 Super Poly. Now we're playing 2 regular Polymerization, because of the fact, you know, that it's very easy to lose a Polymerization in this format, thanks to cards like a Rise Heart or regular Rise Heart, the level 4 monster that manages the top 3, and you know, their macro, walking macro, and then if you like, unfortunately, because this has happened to a lot of players, you do tend to open up at least one polymerization consistently. So by playing two, you can always have one in the deck, and that allows you to not have to, go into your polymerization plays early. You can save them for when you're going to be able to more consistently break a board. But honestly, two poly is honestly just really great because of the flexibility that it offers you. So yeah, two of those. We only play the one Miracle Fusion though, just because, I mean, it's a good card, but you honestly don't really, it's not that you don't need it, it's just that you don't really want to use it a lot of the time you go first, just because you're basically at that point, if you're using it when you're going first, that means you're not really getting max value off of cards like Liquid Soldier and drawing more on your turn, or you're just typically ending on like an absolute zero or something that your opponent can just out fairly easily. So I'm not really a big fan of using this going first. It's more like a going second to continue your momentum type of card. And then we're also going to be playing two Mass Change. You can play three, you can play two, you can play one. It's all up to you. This card is still somewhat searchable, or easily searchable, but it's even more searchable now because of the fact that we play EN Shuffled. I get Shadow Mist onto the field more consistently. So yeah, I just opted to play two because, like I said, Dark Claw is still a really powerful card and can straight up win the game sometimes on its own, as long as you're not playing it like Keshtira, right? But there are lots of decks that just completely crumble to it, like Punk Gold Pride, Branded to an extent, Mathmate can't play, Tearlament can't play. There's, yeah, so many decks just do not function when Dark Claw hits the field. And then for the other spells, we just play a couple 1-0s, being the Reinforcement of the Army and one E-Emergency Call. Now, typically, you will never see me play E-Emergency Call in a Modern Hero deck, but because of the fact that we play E and Neo-Space Engage, which requires you to have something in your hand, I felt the need that we have to include at least one just to be able to, meet the combo requirements a lot more consistently. So yeah, just one Neo-Space or one E-Emergency Call to help us feed into those. And then that's it for the spells, but we do play two traps. The first one being Favorite Contact. This is a fantastic card going first, and it's very easy to get to thanks to the new Wingman Fusion, because it literally says search a favorite card, and this happens to be one of the two favorite cards that heroes have access to. The other one being the favorite hero spell equip, which is just awful, so don't play that. But what this does, it's basically like a reverse Miracle Fusion. So you shuffle cards from your field, graveyard, and or banish zone back into the deck, and then you special summon, you special summon a fusion monster, essentially ignoring, or by placing the materials mentioned it onto the bottom of the deck in any order. So what you're typically going to be summoning off of this is your Shining Neo Swingman, which will in turn have a couple of pops, usually like two, but those two destructions can, like straight up win the game, but much like Enforcer, right? One pop from Enforcer can sometimes win the game. If you get even more off of the two from Shining Neo Swingman, yeah, it's basically a wrap. And then something that I'm trying out is Protection of the Elements, also another brand new card that just recently released from, or not Wild Survivors, but the new Battles of Legend Monstrous Revenge. And I don't know why I said Wild Survivors earlier, sorry about that. But what this card does is when a spell or trap card effect is activated, you can banish one hero monster you control until the end of the turn, and then you can negate it. And this is something that hero decks have honestly lacked for such a long time, and it would obviously be better if we had like a monster that negated, which was like an Omni Negate, but I'll take what I can get. And being able to still stop key cards like your opponent's Dark Ruler No Mores or Dark Holes or Regekis or whatever, it's just great. And it's easily searchable because it mentions Element Hero Terraform in the card text, so that means it's searchable off of Spirit of Neos. But if you're going second, obviously just it's an easy side out card, much like Favorite, or like Favorite Contact. But yeah, overall, the cards are just really nice to try out. I don't really have like any definitive evidence yet, but that's what testing is for, right? And with that, that's the main deck. That's 40 cards like always, and now we can finally move on to the extra deck portion of the deck. We're going to be kicking off the extra deck with Extra Hero Wonder Driver, and this card's just, a fantastic card because it helps you recycle all your spells and traps that, result in you fusion summoning typically, so you can get back your Fusion Destinies, your Miracle Fusions, your Polymerizations, your Mass Changes, whatever, and just use them on your turn 2 to help you finish off your opponent a lot more consistently. And then it has an additional effect too, where if it's destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon a hero monster from your hand, but we typically don't really use that effect, as this card tends to be linked off way more often than not. But, it's there just in case it does come up. And the great part about Wonder Driver is that it's mandatory too. So that means that every time, or at least the once per turn when you do it and you summon to a zone this card points to, it will activate, and it will, Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You're gonna be able to, you know, set it no matter what, as long as it resolves. So yeah, just a fantastic card that took the hero community way too long to appreciate. And then for the other link, we're playing Extra Hero Cross Crusader. You know, being able to bring back your Destiny Hero monsters like Denier and trigger its effect without having to special summon it by its own effect, or being able to bring back your Enforcer after it's been destroyed in case you didn't use this on the first turn, just invaluable. But you really don't need more than one just because it doesn't really come up all that often. And this deck, thanks to cards like EN Neo-spacian Engage, cannot go into link monsters because that card locks you into fusions exclusively for the whole turn that you want to use it. So that's why I didn't really want to put too much emphasis. But even then, like, cards like Dread Decimator I think are just awful because this deck in general already does so much damage that you don't really need cards like Dread Decimator to get the job done. But something that is worth testing is Extra Hero Infernal Devicer, which basically you reveal a hero from your extra deck and then you search out 2 cards. And typically what you're going to be playing is Aqua Neos, because Aqua Neos, if you reveal it, will then in turn add regular Neos and Aqua Dolphin to your hand. So you can typically get into like some cute shenanigans off of that. But like I said, it requires further testing, and it definitely has potential. So we'll see how it goes in the future builds. And then after that, so if we're playing Super Poly, we're going to be playing Super Poly targets, including Mudragon of the Swamp, Garura, and Dragostapelia. Not much needs to be said. You just include these only because we play Super Poly. If you don't play Super Poly, these are just cut entirely. You can replace them with other cards. Like, you can play the other extra hero monsters, or you can include more hero fusions, whatever. Honestly, the call is up to you. And then when it comes to the actual hero fusions, we're going to be playing only one Destiny hero fusion monster, which is Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer. What needs to be said, this card's fantastic. It can straight up win games on its own sometimes just because it's constantly popping, constantly recurring itself, and it just does so much for the deck. Then after that, I'm playing 2 Master Hero Dark Claws. Sometimes, you know, some players enjoy playing just 1 Dark Claw with 1 Master Hero Blast to help ensure that their stratos doesn't get negated by cards like Effect Veiler or Infinite Impermanence. But I don't know. I'd rather just sit on like something like Dark Claw, because there are a lot of games and a lot of decks where Dark Claw just straight up wins you the game. Like, obviously it's not that great against decks like Kashtira, but against everything else, you know, Dragon Link, Terralement, to a lesser extent decks like Vanquish Soul, even like Runic variants, right? If they don't have the negate or the pop for the Dark Law, they can just straight up lose the game right then and there because all their spells are getting banished constantly. So yeah, I really enjoy this card. I think it's great, but yeah, if you want to play Blast, you can just cut 1, but for me personally, I just play 2 Dark Law. And then for the other hero fusions, we play 1 Elemental Hero Sunrise. I'm constantly going back and forth on if I want to play more than 1, but I think 1 is fine. You know, you don't really need the other one. It tends to be like a greed play, but if you're playing more Miracle Fusions, then you can definitely make a case for playing more than 1 Sunrise. We're playing the 1 Wake Up Your Elemental Hero. Now, normally this card would have been used by people to, you know, special summon something like Shadow Mist during the end phase, but let's be honest, that play is honestly just super greedy because you're going through so many resources, and if your opponent has like any point of interruption, yeah, it's not going to end well for you. But I think this card is still like really fantastic in the fact that if you, for your like your turn 2, especially after you've had your resources plowed through by your opponent, it just provides you with like an easy way to OTK them because it gets multiple attacks depending on like the fusion monster they use as material. It has like a Flame Wingman-esque effect where it destroys the monster it battles and then burns them for their attack. It gains attack for every hero banished for the summon. And then, like I said, it still floats. So even if they get rid of it, you can still do other plays too. So yeah, I definitely think this is more of like a finisher instead of a play extender. And then the newest card that was actually released is Elemental Hero Flame Wingman Infernal Rage. And I honestly love this card because it does so much for the deck. The way you summon it is by 2 Elemental Hero monsters with different attributes. And if this card is fusion summoned using like a normal hero monster, which is going to be Elemental Hero Neos, you can tribute this card to special summon 1 hero monster that's level 7 or lower from your deck or extra deck that cannot be normal summoned or like, you know, set. So that typically means you're pretty much always going to be summoning from your extra deck. And what you want to summon is going to be like your Elemental Hero Sunrise. Just, you know, so you summon the Sunrise, you search your Miracle Fusions, and then yada yada, whatever. But there are a lot of cool attacks too. Like, you can play Elemental Hero Aqua Neos, which I believe is a level 7, so you contribute this, summon Aqua Neos, rip a card out of your opponent's hand, and, you know, just continue on with your plays. But like the main appeal from this card comes from its on summon effect, which is when this card is special summoned, you can add one card with favorite in its name from your deck to your deck or graveyard to your hand. And since we play favorite contact, you know, like the reverse trap miracle fusion, that in turn allows us to play Elemental Hero Shining Neo Swingman, which when this card is summoned, it basically just destroys cards. That's the gist of it. But those two cards that it will be able to destroy, just, yeah, legit end the game right then and there, especially when you combine it with cards like Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer. The combo is really good, but you're typically only going to be able to pull it off if you go first. If you go second, you obviously side out the trap cards and this card becomes dead, but yeah, if you go first, you're solid. And then after that, we're just playing the Omni Heroes, you know, so we play the one Escuridao, the one Absolute Zero, and the one Elemental Hero, the Shining, just to round out the extra deck. And with that, that's the hero deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time. See ya!